Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James. This is your Rangers news channel on a Champions League Tuesday. Let's hope this is the first of many Champions League Tuesdays this season. Sorry. Let's hope this is the first of many, obviously, as well upcoming. And there'll be a few UCL Wednesdays, hopefully. I certainly hope to have Champions League Tuesdays and UCL Wednesdays rather than Thursday nights in the Europa League. Don't want the Europa League this season. Genuinely don't. Would be a disaster, I think, if we dropped into the Europa League this season. We need the money from the Champions League. We need to generate extra income. Champions League is where it is at. We cannot allow our city neighbours to get further ahead of us financially. So, look, the manager has been speaking to the media ahead of tonight's game against Dynamo Kiev at Hampden Park. And there were some interesting snippets that came out of that press conference there. We're going to talk over some of those in this video. We're also going to talk a little bit about what team I think the manager will pick and what team I would pick and look at the differences between them. And you may say, well, Philippe Clement's the manager, and thank God Philippe Clement's the manager. You may actually look at my team and go, well, actually, that's a better team. We'll wait and see anyway. We'll wait and see. Let's obviously remember as well, this obviously channel is absolutely free to access any content. Don't charge you for content. Don't hide it behind a paywall. So please obviously smash that sub. Can I start off with this comment that was made by the manager in the presser today? He said, Cheney is the kind of creative player who can make the difference in matches. And I think, the manager is absolutely spot on with these comments. Vaclav Cheney for me was absolutely excellent on Saturday in the time that he played. I think it was about an hour he played in the end against Motherwell. Scored a goal, looked very convincing going forward, looked direct, looked threatening, looked like a Czech Arjen Robben. And as I've said on a number of videos, if this lad is half as good as Arjen Robben, he's going to be one hell of a player. If you think back to Arjen Robben, those of you who remember Arjen Robben, the ex-Chelsea and Bayern Munich and Holland player, he was a player who liked to play on the right side, even though he's predominantly left-footed, and came inside on his left foot an awful lot and scored quite a few goals for Chelsea doing that, and for Bayern Munich as well. Formed a particularly fearsome partnership with Frank Ribery when he was at Bayern Munich, for example. Now, talking of Vaclav Cheney, now Cheney does remind me an awful lot of Robben in the way that he plays. And you look at how he actually, when he picks up the ball, he wants to come inside. He wants to overload that central area. Now, this obviously creates a problem for the fullback, for the left back. Does he go inside? Does he come inside with Cheney, or does he stay outside? And if he comes inside with Cheney, does that leave space for the fullback to overlap or someone else to run into that space? And if then the fullback doesn't go with Cheney inside, then that overloads the centre half. So you've then got a decision to make. Do they go with the 10? Do they go with the 9? Do they go with Cheney? What do they do? And Cheney's certainly shown that he's got an eye for a shot. He's got an eye to hit the ball on target. And also he's got that ability to try and play that killer pass. I mean, he's obviously got the assist against Kiev for the Dessers goal away in Poland at the Lublin Arena last week. He looks a top player, and Philippe Clement is right. He's a difference maker, and I think a lot of the time last season where Rangers were really missing out was having that difference maker, having someone who could come in and change a game with a little bit of magic. And I think Cheney certainly is that player for me who can do that little bit of magic. Well, what else did the manager have to say? Well, this is an interesting comment that he made as regards Hamza Igman and, of course, Clinton Nsiala. So on Hamza Igman, he said, Hamza is doing parts of training now. Step by step, he is reaching the physical levels we need. He is showing lots of interesting things with the ball and starting to learn the language. Clinton is in full training. So, a little bit to take from this comment that he's made. So, obviously, this shows that Hamza Igman is not ready to start, not ready to play any part yet in the games. He's doing it step by step. He's starting to reach the physical levels we need, which does kind of beg the question, what the hell was he doing before he came to Rangers? Lots of interesting things with the ball. Well, that could be a whole plethora of things. Hopefully, it's skill, speed, control, directness, some of that goal scoring ability maybe for a striker. Hopefully that's what we're starting to see in training from Hamza. The fact that he's only doing parts of training still, and it's the 13th of August, we're 2 games into the season, or 3 games into the season really, if you count the Champions League. It's a little bit concerning that a guy that we paid £2.5 million for is still not fit enough to play. Reading this comment and looking at this comment, he looks a good few weeks away. And obviously then, even when he's physically ready to start to play, and he's got a bit of natural fitness, which he clearly seems to be lacking. Then you've got the whole situation of match fitness. Now, obviously, he's had virtually no pre-season, which automatically, when a player has no pre-season, it puts you way behind. He's probably played no pre-season games. He's played no games to this point. So in terms of match fitness and match sharpness, that's going to take a good amount of time to get back. Now, let's say that he is in a position by the end of, say, August to start actually being involved in the match day squad. Well, then it's going to take, perhaps another month to 6 weeks for him to get sort of match fit. We're looking at September, October, the end of October, mid-October. So, he's still quite a way away from being ready yet. Look, I've got no doubt in my mind that Hamza will go on to be a very, very good player. He looks quality in what we've seen when he was playing for Rabat in Morocco. And he's certainly a player that, is rated highly in his native Morocco. Like I said, the one concern for me is, why and how has he got into this condition that he's nowhere near fit? There was rumours of an injury before he came to Rangers. That may have been the case, but I suppose if he's got an injury, he's the perfect signing for Rangers. But look, I think it is concerning for me how, when we're still quite short of strikers in terms of, actual proper strikers, Zach Lovelace seems to have disappeared. There was talk of him angling for a move back down south at one point. Danilo seems to be obviously not, I don't know what is going on with Danilo. The guy's on the bench, but obviously not even getting 10, 15 minutes here, there. And one of the comments that Philippe Clement made as regards Danilo, which really did perplex me, was the comment that he made that had we been more secure and more further ahead in the games we were playing, excuse me, then he would have brought Danilo on. Well, I don't get that personally. I don't really understand that, because replacing Dessers with Danilo is replacing like with like, and actually probably bringing on a bit more quality than Dessers. And the other thing is, this is not a kid we're talking about. This is not a inexperienced, young player who has very few first team minutes to his name, which is the other thing that slightly perplexes me. I could understand this comment if Danilo was a 17, 18-year-old kid who had come through the youth system or had been signed, as a young player, and had kind of developed and was still developing. But this is a bloke who, is, he's 25 years old. In terms of his career, he's played over 174 games. He's played games in the Eredivisie for Ajax, for Feyenoord, for Twente. So it's not like he's played at the bottom possible level. He's played he's played over in the Champions League. He's played in the Europa League. He's got that experience. And I think, the comment that, that if we'd been more secure, then we would have brought him on, is kind of the sort of comment you make about an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old who's come through your youth system or who you've signed from the club as a young player, like a Hamza Igman, for example. So that doesn't really wash with me. I don't know what the story is with Danilo. I think there's something more than we're being led on to believe. There's something more than is actually coming out of the club and coming out of Philippe Clement as regards Danilo. But like I said, if he's on the bench, he's got to be fit enough to play. You do not put a player on the bench who is not fit enough to actually play a game. Like I said, if Dessers was to go down after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, what would you do? What, not bring Danilo on? Put Matondo through the middle, Cheney through the middle? And you're obviously then playing without a natural striker. So that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So for me, this whole situation is still very, very confusing. And obviously it's very worrying that Hamza Igman appears to be a good few weeks or months away from fitness. The other comments that obviously this one here is obviously a very sad one, and it does worry me slightly. We have one doubt for tomorrow. It's Leon Balogun. He felt something at the end of the match. He didn't train today. It's about making the choices tomorrow on who needs to start after a quick turnaround. Look, it looks from that comment that Leon will not feature at all in this game versus Dynamo Kiev at Hamden, which, upsets me really, because I like Balogun. I love Balogun. I love Big Leon. He is just Rangers to the core. The guy's just different class. He just is different class. He's commanding. He can. He's a great communicator. He's aggressive. He's strong. He brings the ball out. He distributes well. He gets stuck in. He's everything you want from a central defender. And I think him and Proper together would be the best partnership, which look is slightly worrying, considering Leon's 36, and I think Leon is by far the better player, better than John Souttar and better than Ben Davies. So, for me, this news that he might not be able to play tonight is worrying, really. I would much prefer to have Big Leon out there. And I think that a lot of people thought that was the plan when Big Leon was rested on Saturday. But who knows? Who knows what the situation will be come the match squad naming time. But look, whatever, it's going to be I think it's going to be a tougher game than a lot of people think it's going to be. Yes, Kiev perhaps didn't give their best account of themselves away in the Lublin arena. And I think a lot of people have kind of branded Kiev a crap team or an overrated team. I think that's very, very dangerous. They'll have learned something about us the same way we will have learned something about them from that first leg. And I think we'll see changes in their team, changes in the way they approach the game, changes in the way they set themselves up, the same way that Philippe Clement has said there will be changes in the way we set ourselves up going into the game tonight. So I think it's going to be a lot tougher than what people imagine. And look, at the end of the day, it's all about just getting a win for Rangers, whether that's a scrappy 1-0 or a 2-1 or anything. As long as we get a win, we go through. It's quite simple. Win and you're through. And that's what we need to be. We've got to get through tonight. In terms of teams, now look, there's two thoughts. Now, you've got my team and Philippe Clement's team. Well, I know that's not Philippe Clement's team as of yet, but I think it's a team he will name. So my team is Jack Butland in goal, Dujon Sterling, John Souttar, Robin Proper, Ridvan Yilmaz. Now, I've gone with the fact that Leon Balogun's not fit. Diomande Barron, Cheney, Lawrence Hefte, and Dessers. Now, that's my team. Now, I prefer that team because, in Sterling, you've got a much more solid right back, someone who will be able to defend, someone who will not leave that side of the defense, horribly exposed as it does when Tav is there. I mean, just look at that and I really just don't understand some of the Tav fanboys out there going, no, it was John Souttar's fault that the goal went in because he put his head on it and flicked it. And then it was Proper's fault for sticking his foot out. It wasn't our James's fault. Well, watch it back. Honestly, watch it back. James Tavernier jogs back with zero interest in the left winger of Motherwell. He doesn't close him down. He makes no effort to go and close him down, which is what a fullback should be doing in that position. He does everything wrong in that position. He doesn't bust a gut to get back. He doesn't go bust a gut to get over there. He doesn't put his body on the line or anything on the line to stop the cross from coming into the box. He does that. It doesn't matter what John Souttar and Robin Proper are doing. They could be sitting on deck chairs having a pint talking about the state of the economy if Tavernier gets over there and closes it down. Simple as. So for me, Dujon Sterling is the best right back. He is more defensively minded, yes, but he's also quite good going forward as well, having spent some time playing as a winger last season. So for me, he's got to start. I think starting Hefte in front of Ridvan will stop Yarmolenko, and I can't remember the guy's name, the right back's name. Really attacking that left-hand side. Now, I think for game one, you look back at that game and Scott WRIGHT was out there, and Scott WRIGHT was absolutely appalling in that game. He was absolutely anonymous, and they overran Ridvan because there was two of them going at him constantly, and he was getting no support from the ever-awful Scott WRIGHT. So that's why I've gone with Hefte in front of him. Plus, Hefte's cross success rate is so much better than anyone else's, 44% when he played the other day against Kiev. So for me, you've got to start Hefte out there. Cheney has to start because he's a game changer. Lawrence is our only choice at 10 at this moment in time. There is literally nobody else unless you push Diomande forward and bring someone into play alongside Barron. Dessers will start up front because we all know Danilo is, I don't know what his Danilo is, but we all know that Danilo is. Please obviously fill in the blank. Dessers will start, whatever you think of Dessers. That's my team. Now, the manager's team, I think the manager will pick is James Tavernier, fuck's sake, John Souttar, Robin Proper, Ridvan Yilmaz, Mohamed Diomande, Connor Barron, Vaclav Cheney, Tom Lawrence, Scott WRIGHT, and Cyril Dessers. Now, you see there's two main differences between my team and his team. I think he will pick Scott WRIGHT over Hefte. I don't think Hefte will start at left wing, given some of the comments he made during the week last week. If Scott WRIGHT does start, I just genuinely despair. It's like almost Scott WRIGHT has got something on the manager, because I'm sorry, and I don't want to really slag him off and criticize him and just pull him apart, but he is genuinely one of the worst footballers I have ever seen. He just, I don't actually know what he contributes to the team. He's not like he's got, he's quick, but he hasn't got blinding speed. He's not like he can go past the man particularly easily. His end product is pretty pish most of the time. His goal scoring is hit and miss. He passes it back to the goalkeeper most of the time. He doesn't cover back, as we saw in the last Kiev game. So I don't really know what Scott WRIGHT brings to the team other than perhaps a nice hairstyle. That's about it, really. As for James Tavernier, shouldn't be starting, shouldn't be playing. Sterling, when fit, should be right back. Just no doubt in my mind. Captain should be Jack Butland. Captain should be Robin Proper. Captain should be Connor Barron, just not James Tavernier. The guy's not fit to lead this club. So for me, that's the difference. It's the two differences. Now, I might be completely wrong. I might be outstandingly wrong, and I hope I am. I hope Tavernier and WRIGHT don't start. And I'm shocked that Sterling and Hefte, or Sterling and another, probably Matondo, I suppose, if anyone, starting on the left-hand side. I'll be shocked. Of course I will. But I genuinely hope that is something the manager is thinking about, not playing Scott WRIGHT and giving us the best possible chance of winning. If you look at the rest of that team, yes, it's not the finished article. But, in Vaclav Cheney, we have got a top player. In Barron and Diamonde, we have got a top pairing in midfield there. And I honestly think that Barron and Diamonde will run rings around McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly. Ridvan Yilmaz, probably the best left back in Scotland. Robin Proper, I think, has the potential to be very, very, very talented indeed. Dujon Sterling, well, we all know Dujon. We love Big Duj. He's just a different animal, isn't he? The guy runs through walls and just, what it'd be like. He's one of those people who would run through a wall, go, and then carry on running. He really would. I genuinely feel that. That's the sort of player he is. Look, tonight's going to be tough. Of course it is. It's Champions League. It's never easy in the Champions League. And if we get through to the next round against Red Bull Salzburg or Twente, it is going to be just as hard. Obviously not as hard as PSV, but still tough. Right, predictions for tonight. I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers. That's my score prediction for tonight. Please, obviously, let me know your score predictions. Let me know your lineups, and obviously, let me drop me a comment. I love reading your comments. I do try and reply to as many as I can. If I can't reply to them, at least I'll read them and give you a thumbs up and a heart. Have a thumbs down if I think you're talking pish. But there we go, guys. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation today. Obviously, there'll be, keep your eyes out for content during the day as we build up towards the game, and obviously, we've got the live watch along tonight of the. As always, on the way out, please smash that like. And remember always, we are the people.